Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, an interesting comment from Bob Arum in regards to Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis. Now, there's always been a push for a Gervonta Davis versus Shakur Stevenson fight. We hear the narrative about Gervonta Davis that he hasn't fought anyone. We actually heard it this past weekend from Errol Spence that he hasn't fought anyone. But we all acknowledge, including Errol Spence and everybody else, not only is Gervonta Davis a great fighter, but we also acknowledge that he is the star of boxing right now, or at least one of two top stars in the sport of boxing. We all understand that. And we see this so much in our Discord. Shout out to Jay in the Discord because he always pops into my mind when I hear this subject. And if you guys are interested in joining our Discord, just reach out through the comment section. Certainly, we'll add the Discord link there so that you can join. I think right now we have maybe at least over 50 people in our Discord right now. We're always talking about the sport of boxing. But anyway, Jay pops up in my mind when we hear these types of topics here in regards to Gervonta Davis and who he will or won't fight. And people get upset with me because I talk about the business of boxing all the time. Now, the reason why I talk about the business of boxing is because most of you know I work in corporate America, but not only that, fights are made or not made because of the economics associated with the fight. And so it's interesting that Bob Arum decided to come out and say this, that, this fight is not going to happen right now. And it is because of the fact that Gervonta Davis has much better options in regards to opponents and fights that are going to be far more lucrative than a fight with Shakur Stevenson. And this is what we've been saying on this channel for quite some time. The fight is not going to be made until Shakur can put eyeballs or asses in seats. It's nothing personal. That's just what it is. Leonard Ellerby has alluded to this. His trainer, Calvin Ford, has alluded to this. The fact that they all understand the numbers, as I mentioned on our live stream last weekend, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Sunday we go live, so make sure you guys come join and check us out. But as I mentioned there, as I was debating one of our callers, Terrence, was that insiders, people who are in the sport, they are not fooled by whatever numbers are surfaced out there. They know or have a great idea of what a fighter is doing relative to pay-per-view numbers. And so if a fighter believes that they should get a specific cut and there's another fighter that wants a certain dollar amount that just really isn't, it doesn't make any sense as it relates to the overall dollars and what they bring into the pot, then it's not going to end up happening. And that's what we have currently going on with Shakur Stevenson. And Bob Arum has now admitted that he believed that, Lomachenko is going to be a more lucrative fight than a Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Davis. And there's other options that are going to be more lucrative, and that a Shakur Stevenson fight is not going to happen until Shakur starts to put more asses in seats. As a matter of fact, he mentioned that they are already talking about the potential of a Gervonta Davis versus Lomachenko fight, which could occur somewhere in November. So, and we've heard Tank already talking about the potential of fighting Lomachenko, and that could be a great fight. We've heard his coach talking about that fight as well. So I think that fight could happen. But for those of you who keeps screaming and yelling about Shakur, he won't fight Shakur, and this, that, and the third, I believe Tank has full intentions on fighting Shakur Stevenson. But as they've mentioned in the past, he has to build his weight up. He has to build his weight up. It's just as simple as that. He has to build his weight up. And so far, he has not built his weight up. So where do we go from here? I think Shakur Stevenson, I believe his contract is going to end. I don't know if he's going to sign back with Top Rank or not. I haven't heard any details on that. We'll see if that ends up happening. But at the end of the day, that's something that he's going to have to focus on. He's going to have to focus on building up himself as a brand. He's going to have to focus on making sure that he brings eyeballs to the table. And he's in a very similar situation as Terrence Crawford was a few years ago, in that he didn't bring a lot of attraction to an event. And so because he didn't bring a whole lot of attraction to an event, I mean, he was high risk, low reward. And so then you got the fans talking about their people, they're ducking. I mean, in reality, they simply don't understand the business aspect of this. And it's surprising to me because it seems like it's simple economics and it makes perfect sense in my mind, but there's simply a lot of fans that either don't understand or don't want to understand the economics associated with the fight. They don't want to understand that. They just want to go with the narrative of my fighter is being ducked, your fighter is afraid of my fighter, so forth and so on. And that's fine if you want to continue that narrative. But at the end of the day, we understand what it takes to make these fights happen. And unfortunately, right now, Shakur Stevenson simply is not positioned to make these fights happen. And when you look at the last several opponents that he's had, I mean, come on. I mean, he's fighting, isn't it Arum who he's fighting next? Who is Frank's leftovers, but yet Frank, he talks trash about Frank and what Frank had done, but you're fighting a guy that Frank has already beaten. You know? So I just feel like you fought Ghost the fight prior to that, didn't look great in that fight. I just don't feel like Shakur is doing a whole lot to really, increase his profile. He says he's chasing greatness, but he's not doing a whole lot to increase his overall profile. And, he has to do something to improve that. So it is what it is. His own promoter is saying that it doesn't make any sense to make the fight. Bob Arum wouldn't make the fight today because he wouldn't make any money. There's no economics behind it in order for the fight to be made. And so I hope this brings a little bit of clarity to what we've been saying on this channel for quite some time, and some clarity around why the fight hasn't been made, and some clarity around what Leonard Ellaby has been saying for quite some time. It is what it is. I think there's still an opportunity for the fight to be made, but Shakur has to build up his profile. So you guys tell me what you think about this. I know you guys are going to say I'm a hater, that I talk about the numbers too much, and I'm fine with that because the numbers actually play a part in whether fights get made or not. Whether you like it or not, the numbers play a part in whether fights get made or not. It's just that simple. So let me know what you think in the comments section. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast and Sports Media, and we are out.